Hey, hello everyone. So today I'll be talking about 10 most important things to watch out for before you actually finalize your rented apartment. So many of us have been in a situation where we have moved to a new city and we are in search of a rented accommodation which would be close to our office and more importantly within our budget. Or probably our building has gone into redevelopment and we are searching for a rented flat. So in either case, if you're house hunting somewhere in Mumbai or in any other city in India, the points that I would be discussing will definitely help you in comparing and choosing the right one out of all the shortlisted flats. So let's go over all the points quickly. So the first tip would be check if your mobile network works in all corners of the house. So you have to ensure that you have a good mobile network coverage within the house so that you do not struggle with your daily meetings every day, and as you all might be working from home, it is quite essential to have a good mobile network coverage. So the second tip would be check for leaky and dysfunctional taps. If the rented apartment is in an old building, many a times it might happen that the taps in the kitchen, washroom might be leaky or dysfunctional. So in this case, make sure you get it repaired from the owner before you move in. So the next step would be check if you're allotted a parking space in the building. So usually the tenants are allowed to park their two-wheelers inside the building premises, but there can also be a scenario wherein the flat owner has a parking space allotted for a four-wheeler as well. Then you can use that space as well. But in any case, just make sure that you do not park your vehicles outside the building premises or on the road. The broker or the landlord might be persistent that the area is safe enough to park your vehicles, but in my opinion, it's always safe to park your vehicles inside. Make sure that there are no pending bills before you move in. It is the owner's responsibility to pay off all the pending gas, electricity, or maintenance bills before the tenant moves in. It is also the broker's responsibility to make sure all bills are paid before the tenants move in. So there can be a case wherein if there are some bills which got generated after you have moved in, so what you could do is you can pay off these bills and deduct the plausible amount from the coming monthly rent. So the next point would be the need to have piped gas connection and continuous water supply. Make sure that the flat has a piped gas connection, and if you happen to stay in Mumbai, so this would be from Mahanagar Gas Limited. So piped gas connection is always preferred over gas cylinders, because you don't have to run around pre-booking gas cylinders and all the bills can be paid online. So the other point to be checked is if there is water supply 24 into 7. So in some cases the water supply won't be 24 by 7. So in that case, just make sure there are overhead tanks in the house which will basically suffice your daily needs. So the next point would be make sure the deposit is refundable and the flat owner pays the maintenance bill. So in this case, whenever your leave and license agreement is prepared, it should be clearly mentioned that the deposit would be refundable on the same day the tenant vacates the house, and also the monthly maintenance bills that you get, that should be actually paid by the flat owner and not by the tenant. So the next point would be check the electrical switches, sockets and regulators. So here in this case, make sure you check all the electrical socket switches and fan regulators, get it repaired if you find some of the sockets dysfunctional. Next tip would be look for cracks or crevices in the house and notify the owner accordingly. So usually before you move in, the owner does all the renovation, but if something is missed out and if you feel that needs to be fixed on an urgent basis, notify him accordingly. I would say take lots of pictures and send all these pictures to the owner to give him a fair idea of the current condition of the house. Also, you can treat this as proof to compare the condition later on when you will be moving out, and you won't be held accountable for any pre-existing cracks or crevices which were already there. So the next tip is proximity from station, markets and bus stops. So if you all know, in Mumbai, if you do not own a private vehicle, then trains are the most preferred public transport. So as far as possible, try to find a place which would be at a convenient distance from the nearest railway station. Also make sure there are supermarkets around. If not in your locality, they are close by, or at least make sure they deliver to your locality. Now the last tip would be conditions while vacating the house. So sometimes it's an unwritten rule that you need to renovate the flat before vacating so that the house is left in a spick and span condition for the next tenant. So just make sure you do not have any such unwritten rules that might come as a shocker when you're just about to vacate. So those were all the tips that I had, and I hope the above points were meaningful and would help you in the process of deciding the right house for you and your family.